Hey everyone, welcome to the Earth 2 podcast, your weekly exploration of the DC Comics multiverse and the legacy of their Golden Age characters through the Silver and Bronze Ages of comics. I'm Peter Watson.
And I'm momentarily confused, but I am David Steele, and I do welcome you back and thank you for joining us. Hot on the heels of last week's jump back to World War II and issue 228 of Wonder Woman, the new original Wonder Woman, we bring you issue 229, published on the 23rd of December 1976. Merry Christmas, Peter!
Yay! What did you get for Christmas that year?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I could probably find out. There's probably photographs.
Okay.
Oh, challenge extended, eh?
Mm-hmm. Listeners, what did you get for Christmas that year? Why don't you write to us and let us know?
Listeners, we're quickly going to give you a quick update as we record. Today's episode that was released today as we record was the Black Adam episode, Shazam issue 28. We talked about Paul Revere's statue and we talked about traffic cones on the Duke of Wellington statue in Glasgow. And we got a very quick reply on Twitter, didn't we, Peter?
Certainly did, from Wardhill Terry, who sent us a photograph of the Paul Revere statue, as mentioned in that episode, with not one, not two, not three, but 4 traffic cones on it.
Outstanding.
My goodness. The Tartan Army have indeed invaded. Superb.
Yes, I've retweeted it and I'll go and stick it on the Instagram story once we finish recording this episode, listeners, so you can have a look. Lovely. Thank you, Terry, if that is your name. Right, we'd better go on with it then. Pete, do you want to tell everyone about the cover to Wonder Woman issue 229?
David, I would be delighted to tell everyone about the cover to Wonder Woman issue 229.
Phew.
Top left corner, it's a light blue DC bullet. Update your spreadsheets, folks. She defies the fury of the most fiendish Nazi genius, Wonder Woman. 30 cents, number 229, March. Production code 30725, and it's approved, of course, by the Comics Code Authority. Now, the main image on the cover, we have Wonder Woman. She seems to be in some sort of steel box, it looks like.
Yeah.
Some sort of steel prison. She's shackled in chains to the wall. I can't see her bracelets, actually. That's interesting. But yes, she's shackled round the wrists, and she looks aghast, because flying towards her is a red missile with Nazi swastikas on it. My goodness, she looks absolutely appalled. This is a Garcia Lopez and Vince Coletta cover. In the background through a window, we can see that operating some machinery, which obviously is firing this missile, is the form of the Red Panzer, who obviously is feeling the heat as well because he's taken off his uniform, and we see he's wearing, it almost looks like he's cosplaying a Nazi version of Robot Man.
Is he wearing or is he cosplaying? Aha, we shall soon see. Yes, he's obviously feeling the heat like we are in Glasgow today. But be assured, listeners, Peter and I are fully dressed as we record. We have not stripped down to our undies to record because it's roasting. Just be assured.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I can, thank goodness, and I can. Right, I can only see you from the chest up, so that's enough.
That's the plan.
Yes. Anyway, back to the cover.
And at the very bottom of the cover, there is a splash that says, "The Red Panzer returns, hell-bent on revenge."
Yes, a reference there to the Peter Capaldi Doctor Who episode, and I'm sure I used this cover on my big Twitter thread of comic covers with the names of Doctor Who episodes on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's quite a dynamic cover. It's a bit of a Dutch tilt.
It certainly does.
Sort of thing going on, which I like. And if you tilt it so that it sort of corrects, it makes it look even more dynamic. I like the sort of the fact that Red Panzer is lit differently. There's a sort of glowing orange lamp above him by the looks of things, so it adds a nice contrast to the sort of grey silver of where Wonder Woman is trapped. Will the contents of the comic accurately reflect this cover? Who can say? Listeners, I always talk about issue 39 of The Defenders, but the cover, how it doesn't reflect, etc. And I got the Italian reprint of issue 41 in the post the other day, and I was reminded that issue 41 of The Defenders is an even worse, what's the word, culprit? Is that the word?
Yeah, representation of the contents.
Yes, than issue 39. I don't know what was going on at Marvel in those days. So, jumping into Wonder Woman...
Wonder Woman.
Jumping into Wonder Woman 229. Guess what? There's some captions.
The time is 1943. The place is wartime America. The only nation that could put an end to Hitler's terror.
Aye, right. Okay, come on.
Draw a line under that.
Yes, anyway. How long did it take them? 3 years? 3 years before they get... Anyway.
Into the world that men drove mad with war, she came. Beautiful as Aphrodite, wise as Athena, stronger than Heracles, and swifter than Hermes, to save mankind from itself. Into a world where women were mere women came Wonder Woman. And womanhood would never be the same again.
And things will never be the same, Peter. I do not envy you having to read that caption. But although let's just imagine that Wonder Woman got her powers by saying a words made up of the initials of the Greek gods you've just mentioned. So that would be, Wonder Woman would cry, and then be struck by lightning. Anyway, yes, so over an image of Wonder Woman lying, the Earth 2 Wonder Woman, of course, because if you remember at the end of last week, we returned to 1943 with the Wonder Woman of Earth 2 as our Diana from Earth 1 remained in the present. And Wonder Woman of Earth 2 was struck unconscious as the returning Panzer ship collided with her. And we ended a very abrupt cliffhanger, but picking up immediately from it, obviously, we can see that Red Panzer is using Wonder Woman's lasso to tie her up. Oh my goodness, her own lasso against her. And as he's doing all this, he is saying,
"The Führer shall know that I ensured the Third Reich's victory, Fräulein Wonder Woman. Soon Hitler will conquer, and he in turn will be conquered by the Red Panzer."
And then he yells for emphasis the title of this week's story, as he says,
Tomorrow belongs to me.
We mention, of course, there's a painting of Hitler still hanging on the wall from last week. We get the credits for this issue.
Scripts, Martin Pascoe. Art, Jose Delbo and Vince Coletta. Colouring, Liz Berube.
As the Red Panzer stands over Wonder Woman's unconscious form, there is some more captioning.
Mere moments ago, Wonder Woman was knocked unconscious by a collision with the Red Panzer's time ship, returning from a journey into the future. Bound by the Amazon's magic lasso, the Panzer has been defeated. But now, he turns that defeat into victory.
Looking down at Wonder Woman, the Red Panzer thinks,
I shall use the compelling power of the lasso to press the Wonder Woman into service for the fatherland. But wait, would der Führer accept the service of so powerful a woman? Especially a former enemy to the master race? Nein, I think not. And great would be Helmut Stryker's glory if he killed Wonder Woman.
And we see him raise his foot as if he's going to bring it down on Wonder Woman's face or chest or whatever, and he continues to think,
Yeah, I shall kill her. Crush the very breath from that soft and lovely throat.
And as he starts to lower his foot, thankfully, Wonder Woman recovers. She kicks up at him with a
Clod.
And he exclaims,
Ach, und du lieber, was ist?
And Wonder Woman says, The Americans call it playing possum, Panzer. Your time machine may have knocked the wind out of my sails, but that's about all it did. And Wonder Woman gets to her feet. Managing to wriggle free from her lasso, she punches the Panzer, who goes flying. There's a brilliant sound effect. He gets to his feet and opens his red tunic, revealing a very robotic-looking body underneath. There's a control panel type thing on his chest. Reminds me of King of the Rocket Men. Very interesting, because I think at first we just thought this was a big guy in a mask. That could be worse. He says,
Perhaps, Fräulein, but I shall do the rest. For now comes the opportunity you denied me earlier. The chance to demonstrate mine awesome power. Observe the control panel. With but a flip of a switch, I reverse the polarity of the electric charge in mine armor to create a powerful magnetic repulsion, a form of hyper-intensified gravitational resistance that empowers me to fly.
And he takes off, flying out through the big hatch in the wall, and he's carrying the lasso with him. Wonder Woman then climbs into the Panzer jet, the Panzer vehicle, thinking, pursuing him shouldn't be hard. As I recall, it's an experimental jet engine in this time ship, allowing it to adapt for ordinary air travel. Operating the controls, the Panzer jet takes off. Wonder Woman's thoughts continue. And pursue him I must, because he's got my lasso. And in the wrong hands, it could be the deadliest weapon on the face of the earth.
If you weren't with us last issue, gentle reader, you're probably screaming by now, who's this Red Panzer? And what's his beef? Patience. Those questions are soon to be answered.
Patience, a reference there to Take That's #1 single when they returned in 2006.
But for now, let us concentrate on the action.
Yes, let's concentrate on the action, not take that chart statistics. The Panzer jet catches up to Red Panzer. Wonder Woman steps outside. See Red Panzer. He's definitely a robot or some sort of cyborg type thing. Firing a bolt of energy from his left hand at Wonder Woman. There's an amazing Pew! Sound effect as she ducks out of the way. She leaps off the Panzer jet towards him, trying to grab at the lasso as he says,
Ach, your aggression, your ferocity, they excite me. So much so, in fact, that your death I will regret. Almost.
Yes, he has punched Wonder Woman at this point. There's a brilliant
BAM!
sound effect, and she goes flying back to collide with the Panzer jet. He's still got hold of the lasso. While she recovers, he says,
For now I shall unveil the secret weapon that guarantees you shall die.
He takes his right hand, starts manipulating his left hand. Wonder Woman thinks, Great Hera, he's unscrewing his hand? By the goddess! Your arm! It's a howitzer? She says, as he fires on her with his left wrist. There's a brilliant sound effect as he says,
Ja, mein Fräulein, it is indeed. Tell me, can you play bullets and bracelets with a 75mm shell?
Perhaps she can't, but she's going to try. Lord, how she's going to try.
We see Wonder Woman quickly raise her bracelets, which are clasped together in front of her face as the caption continues.
If she didn't, she wouldn't be a Wonder Woman.
There's a colossal blam as the bolt from the Panzer's arm strikes Wonder Woman.
There is a bright, blinding glare. And then...
Very helpfully, Wonder Woman thinks what we see. Suffering Sappho, I caught the shell between my bracelets. The friction melted the casing, fusing my bracelets together. Oh my goodness. Standing up now, she's struggling and she thinks, I can't pull them apart. Won't budge. All my strength drained. I feel weak as a kitten.
The sudden rush of power sapped from one's strong limbs is too much, even for the amazing Amazon. Her head reels dizzily. A wave of nausea washes over her. Her vision blurs. And finally, she falls.
Yes, we see her falling from the Panzer jet. Very, very high up, because through the gap in the clouds we can see the top of some skyscrapers. She must be very high up indeed. And there's a tiny, tiny narrative jump, because in the next panel we see her falling from the sky and colliding with a canopy outside of a building with a fantastic
Splack!
sound effect, and a caption reads,
The explanation of this mysterious weakness that has overcome the Amazon princess must, for the moment, wait. As now...
We see the Panzer flying back towards his little sky ship, and he's thinking,
I have lost the lasso, but it is unimportant. If fortune smiles on me this day, Wonder Woman has lost something greater. Her very life.
we see the Panzer jet flying back through the entrance hatch into his base, as he thinks,
So I am now free to concentrate on the large task ahead. That is tonight's mission at Camp Halsey. And then tomorrow, my second attempt to alter the face of the future.
He's got out of the jet. We can see him removing the robotic helmet which he's wearing, and he does look like some kind of weird cyborg. And he thinks to himself,
Yeah, my second unsuccessful attempt. Ever since my time scanner showed me how the Allies would defeat the Axis powers and win the war, I have planned to journey into the future and change that destiny. For one more night, I will be simply Helmet Stryker, a lowly scientist sent here by the Abwehr to supply Nazi spies in Washington with advanced secret weapons. But after tomorrow, I will be the man who won World War II, and soon, master of the world.
and he shakes his right fist violently. We get a good look at his face there. Close-cropped grey hair, and that vicious scar running down the left side of his face is taking away his left eye. It's horrible. There's a slow dissolve.
Meanwhile, a small crowd is gathered around a semi-conscious Wonder Woman lying on a Washington street.
Yes, we see Wonder Woman lying flat out on the pavement. Some people standing around her. A voice says,
What's wrong with her? Is she hurt?
We're not sure, but I just called an ambulance. And then a reassuring voice says,
No need for that. I can take care of her.
The speaker is revealed as a very handsome young man in a military uniform. Guy in a green baseball cap and some thick glasses turns to him and says,
What are you, a soldier? A medic?
Standing beside him is another chap with a brown crew cut, and he says, Hey Bob, what's the matter with you? You unpatriotic or something? Don't you recognise a war hero when you see one? That's Major Steve Trevor, the guy who saved the northern bomb site from being sabotaged. And someone else chips in with,
Yeah, and he's Wonder Woman's boyfriend.
And Steve Trevor, he has arrived. It's a long time since Steve Trevor was on the podcast. And previously he had blonde hair, but now he's got dark hair, just like Lyle Wagner of the new original Wonder Woman on the telly, which has prompted this whole World War II diversion, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Steve kneels down to examine Wonder Woman. She moans slightly. There's a slight as he checks her out and says,
Easy, Angel. I'm here.
Helps her to her feet. They start walking off top of the next page. As Steve continues,
I was on my way to General Blenkinsop's office when I saw you come falling out of nowhere. Are you hurt?
No, just terribly weak.
And after Wonder Woman has related her adventures of the past several hours...
Yes, we see Wonder Woman and Steve approaching what's obviously Steve's military car, as Wonder Woman concludes. And it is the will of the goddesses that if a man should bind an Amazon's bracelets together, she will lose her Amazon strength. He opens the door to the car to let her in, and he says,
"Come on, Angel, get in. I've got some tools in the glove compartment. I think I can pry those bracelets loose."
At that moment, in War Department headquarters...
This must be General Blankenship. Tall man, formidable looking, close-cropped, white hair, stars all over the place, smoking a pipe, and with him is a slightly portly, shall we say, young lady with red hair, chewing in a candy bar by the looks of things. And of course, this is Etta Candy. Now, when was the last time she was on the show? Years!
Yes,
years and years and years. Anyway, the General is saying, "Where the devil is Trevor? He's almost 15 minutes late for our meeting." Etta replies,
"You know Steve, General? He's probably off trying to win the war single-handedly."
"I know, and that's what worries me. He hasn't been the same ever since that Wonder Woman appeared. She has saved his life so many times already, he's lost count. That hasn't been good for his ego, I'm afraid. After all, he has a Medal of Honor with her, you know. By the way, Etta, have you finished typing those memos for me yet?"
"I'm working on them, sir."
We see that Etta is holding a file in the next panel.
"General Blankenship, are you sure I have security clearance for these? This sabotage business is pretty serious stuff."
"Of course I'm sure. Now stop stuffing your face and get back to work." There's a slow dissolve. A caption reads,
Meanwhile...
We're with Steve and Wonder Woman in Steve's car. Wonder Woman, her bracelets have been separated. Phew, she is saying, "You did it, Steve. I can feel the strength flowing back into my body. How can I ever thank you?"
"Forget it. It's about time I was able to do something for you. Well, on second thought, maybe there is a way."
And he puckers up and leans in, the devil. But Wonder Woman throws open the door of the car and leaps out, saying, "Sorry, Major, I don't have time for that. I have a lot of overdue appointments to keep." Then she yells, "Calling robot plane!"
But as the amazing Amazon wings her way over the nation's capital in her invisible robot plane, she discovers she will have to postpone those appointments even further, as she receives...
Yes, you can see Wonder Woman has a sort of cord, a cable plugged into... It looks like a little tiny model temple, to be honest, plugged into that's connected to her forehead, and she's thinking, a mental radio message from Mother?
Yes, Mother, which can only mean a summons beckoning the Amazon princess home to a small speck of land in the southern Atlantic known as Paradise Island.
Yes, astonishing work from Marty Pascal here. The sheer distance we've covered in the space of 3 panels is amazing. We see in this panel here Wonder Woman's invisible jet flying off as she drops to the ground, obviously in some sort of temple situation, to meet a tall, beautiful blonde lady in a white flowing dress wearing a gold headband, who greets Wonder Woman, saying,
"Hola, my daughter."
Now begins the gravest meeting between the young Amazon and her mother, the Amazon Queen, Hippolyte.
Yes, Polly, as I'm going to call her for short. And interesting that she has blonde hair. Now, which part of the continuity does this? I've lost count, because I remember when we did the new Golden Age thing, there was a whole thing about her mum's hair changing colour, wasn't there?
Yes, I think the Golden Age one is blonde, from what I recall. Yeah.
It's confusing. Anyway,
I could be wrong.
Listen, folks, it's years since we did those episodes. We don't have time to go back and check. I apologise. But anyway, the Queen is saying,
"I have watched your battle with the German on the magic sphere, my daughter, and I am deeply disturbed."
And she points at what is presumably the magic sphere, but to me it just looks like a big white circle on the wall. She continues,
"You have learned from your contact with that so-called Red Panzer that America is destined to win the war it now fights. This, the magic sphere, foretold to me as well. I withheld that information from you. This knowledge caused your defeat. You have lost your sense of purpose, of the urgency of your mission to man's world."
Wonder Woman replies, "What? Mother, I don't understand."
"Men will not labour to achieve a goal they fear will be reached inevitably. You are no different, Diana. Your knowledge of the future has dulled the sharp edge of your resolve."
Interesting. Wonder Woman looks very thoughtful and says, "In other words, I wasn't trying as hard in fighting the Panzer because subconsciously I'm too confident that he'll be defeated?"
"That is more or less correct. Give me your lasso."
Instinctively, Princess Diana knows her mother's plan and surrenders her lasso willingly. Thus...
Yes, we see Wonder Woman with the lasso wrapped around her. Polly is holding it and saying,
Hear and obey. You will forget your knowledge of the future.
Yes, must forget. The lasso compels me. And there is another slow dissolve.
Sometime later, when Yeoman First Class Diana Prince arrives at the War Department...
Yes! Oh my goodness, what an absolute 10 she is in her uniform. Diana Prince walking into the General's office, Etta standing there. Looking, is that a cornetto or something?
It's a cone, definitely a cone.
But Etta says...
Diana, you've got to help me. I've done something terrible.
What is it, Etta? Then we get a couple of ripply panelled flashbacks as Etta narrates the events of what has transpired.
Steve was late for a meeting with the General. When he got here, the General had already gone home.
We see Steve arriving. His hair looks several shades lighter than it did earlier. Obviously, a bitter old bald man like me is the sort of person who's noticed such things. Steve says to Etta,
"What did the old man want?"
As Etta fills her face again, she replies,
"Nothing much. He just wanted to send you on a wild goose chase so you wouldn't get wind of..."
And then she pulls herself up and says,
"Oops."
Cutting back to the present, Etta continues, explaining to Diana,
"Steve knew something was up right away. He found General Blankenship's top-secret memos in the wastebasket before I had a chance to shred them. Now he knows about the intelligence report that says Nazi saboteurs are going to blow up Camp Halsey in Alexandria tonight. Oh, Di, what are we going to do?"
Tears pouring from Etta's face as Diana crosses to the door of the office and says, "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." And it must be said, she does look an awful lot like Linda Carter in these panels.
Mm-hmm.
Stepping outside, a caption reads,
Quickly, Diana ducks into an empty office and locks it behind her. Because, you see, Yeoman Diana Prince has a secret to keep. Namely, that she is Wonder Woman.
And there's a terrific, probably TV show-inspired panel showing Wonder Woman changing from Diana Prince into the Wonder Woman costume. You can be assured that that panel will make it to the socials this week. The captioning continues,
And the Amazon's role in the drama soon to unfold will be a crucial one. To set the stage, we must backtrack 2 hours to a moment shortly after Steve Trevor left the War Department.
We see a pair of hands holding a newspaper. It's clearly a copy of the Washington Post or something. The headline reads, Wonder Woman executes bizarre skydive. And the person holding the newspaper speaks.
"Repeatedly, the Red Panzer attempts to slay the Amazon, and repeatedly she survives."
And we get a shift in camera angle, so to speak, and we see, well, the Red Panzer, minus his helmet, wearing a green army shirt by the looks of things. Maybe he's in civvies, and he's talking to a few rather shady-looking guys, all in hats and big jackets, the sort of faces that look as if they've been made from mashed potato. What the Panzer is saying now.
"Fortunately, I now know how to defeat her. Now then, mine agents, you know who that I am the Panzer."
And he is now holding up a little gadget, which looks as though it's got a couple of buttons and a speaker or something on it, and he continues,
"This is the brainwave neutralizer, a weapon that will knock out every soldier at Camp Halsey."
And then...
with a huge... Steve Trevor is revealed, smashing in a window to reveal himself, and he cries,
"That's all I wanted to hear."
And he drops down into the room as one of the Nazi goons in a brown hat yells, "Gott in Himmel! It's that American Major!" One of the other goons has time to quickly say,
But how could he know about the mission?
before Steve knocks him to the ground with a...
Thud!
Actually, he doesn't really knock him to the ground. He lands on his back with both feet, which is pretty cool. Anyway, and as we turn the page, we pass the big announcement about Jeanette Kahn arriving at DC Comics. One of the most significant arrivals anywhere, probably the most significant arrival anywhere since the pterodactyl leader arrived in London. Over the page, we see Steve knocking out one of the goons with a big stick. Maybe that's what he was carrying, not a gun. There's a brilliant crack. But then we see the other goon, the one with the hat, who I voiced a second ago, is standing behind him with a kosh, which he brings down the back of Steve's head with a
Whap!
And over all this, there have been some captions.
The battle was alas most swift, and the kind of heroics of which Steve Trevor is so fond were not to be his this time.
Yes, well, Steve gooned it, didn't he, listeners? That's the end. Bye-bye. No, I'm kidding.
And so, 2 hours later, Wonder Woman comes full circle, back to the Panzer's headquarters.
So there's a reference to Full Circle in this panel, and there's a reference to Hellbent on the cover. Kenny, don't say we're not good to you. We see Wonder Woman crouching outside the broken window that Steve jumped through the previous page. We hear the voice of the Panzer.
"And we must be ever vigilant, for wherever there is Major Trevor, Wonder Woman cannot be far behind. because he... Eh?
And the Panzer whirls because Wonder Woman is jumping through what's left of the broken window, dropping down towards the Panzer and the goons. She says, I don't know who you're talking to, Panzer, but... She's interrupted because the Panzer raises a hand and says,
Ah, the Wonder Fräulein. I've been expecting you. You are curious about my guest here? Hold then, and see for yourself who he is.
And then miraculously, an overhead light switches on, revealing Steve chained up and tied to a chair. Wonder Woman exclaims, Steve! She breaks the chains with an amazing
snap,
as she says, I don't know what kind of game this is, but I'm tired of playing. If you think mere chains can hold Steve while I'm here...
Quite so. The chains will not hold Trevor, but they will do quite nicely to restrain Wonder Woman.
And then we see that Steve has vanished from the chair.
You see, electromagnetism and optical illusions are my specialties. The Trevor you thought you saw was an illusion.
Gasp, and the chains start to wrap themselves around Wonder Woman's wrists. Oh my goodness, the Panzer continues.
A powerful electromagnet disguised as an overhead lamp made the chains leap around your wrists, binding them as if possessed with a life of their own.
And Wonder Woman falls forward looking pained as once again she's been bound by a fella. There is another slow dissolve and another caption.
Presently...
We see Wonder Woman still bound by the chains, with the Red Panzer, who still hasn't put his coat back on, walking along with a couple of goons. They're outside a building which is labelled US Army. And the brown-hatted goon is leaning through an open doorway and saying, You were correct, Herr Stryker. The brainwave neutralizer rendered the entire base helpless. We have set the explosives on the base as you wished, Herr Stryker.
Wunderbar!
Affirms the Panzer. So that's it. They must have knocked out all of the soldiers. Would have been good to see a panel maybe showing that, but not to worry. Guess what? There is another slow dissolve and another caption.
Inside the hangar-like building...
Yes, we see Wonder Woman standing, her wrists still bound. There appears to be a sort of series of partitions and cabinets set up all around her at this angle. And looking through a window in this wall, in a little control room, is the Red Panzer, slightly echoing what was happening in the cover. The Red Panzer is saying,
Here at Camp Halsey, Fräulein, your army is testing various new guided missile designs. The maze you're standing in is designed for that testing. The object being to see if the rockets can negotiate a labyrinthine flight path.
And we get a beautiful aerial shot, which indeed shows that Wonder Woman is standing in a maze, as what these partitions and walls are set up to form. And we can see the twisting paths all around her, and there is a whoosh sound effect as one of the rockets that Panzer has just mentioned is taken off, and it starts flying through the maze. The Panzer observes,
It seems they can.
Yes, it seems they can negotiate their way through the path. Wonder Woman starts to run off through the maze. The rocket follows her, and Panzer offers a commentary.
This is where the Red Panzer gives you, how do the Americans call it? A sporting chance. If you escape the maze before the missile catches up with you, you live. But should you reach a dead end, well, you will reach a dead end. Consider it, Fräulein. Yours will be a fitting end for one whose race knew the ancient Greeks. The missile is your Minotaur, just like Perseus, but remember, this Minotaur can see in the dark!
Bit of a howl there from the Panzer, but we'll come back to that. Yes, and over a couple of panels there we've seen Wonder Woman making her way through the maze, but unfortunately she seems to have, indeed, as he hinted at, she has reached a dead end. Standing facing a blank wall, Wonder Woman turns to see the rocket approaching her. She thinks, Great hero, I picked a wrong path and had missiles bearing down on me. Bless these chains on my bracelets. Without my Amazon strength, I can't hope to... Wait, there's one chance, but it'll be very, very close.
Suppressing the panic rising within her, the Amazon Wonder waits until the very last possible moment. And then...
And she kneels at the last possible sec, but with her wrists held above her head like I'm miming for the benefit of our YouTube viewers. With the rocket flying towards her, she thinks, I merely pray to Hera the explosive in the warhead doesn't splatter me from here to Paradise Island. There is a colossal... Lots of smoke clearing. We can see a few bruises and some dirt on Wonder Woman's face and arms as she looks down and thinks, Made it. For the second time in 24 hours, I've gotten a pair of belt bracelets unstuck. Talk about luck. There is suddenly an enormous sound effect, and she gets another close-up as her thoughts continue. Or should that be, forget about luck, that sound means there's another rocket on its way. The Panzer implied there would only be one, but apparently they'll keep coming until they finish me off. And then, circling around the wall, flying towards her, comes another projectile as Wonder Woman thinks, wait, it's a guided missile, so it's probably homing in on something. This is going to be risky, but it's worth a try. And she takes off her bracelet and hurls it away from her so that the guided missile swerves away from her, following the bracelet. Wonder Woman thinks, terrific, I got it in the first try. It's only logical. With his fixation for my bracelets, the Panzer chose them as the homing targets. Which means, Hera help me, I'll have to doff my bracelets to get out of here in one piece. Well, I knew it would be risky.
Risky indeed. For according to the lore of Paradise Island, when an Amazon removes her bracelets, she goes berserk.
Yes, she goes berserk like the Beyonder on the cover of issue 8 of Secret Wars 2. Wonder Woman looks furious as we see her punching through the walls of the maze. She yells, Gah! Must kill Panzer! There's a brilliant sound effect as bits of the wall go flying, and guess what? The captioning returns.
And an instant, as with a sudden surge of adrenaline, the amazing Amazon's strength increases tenfold. While, back in the Panzer's laboratory,
we see a couple of the Panzer's goons loading Steve Trevor into the cockpit of the Panzer jet vehicle. The Panzer observes,
No doubt Wonder Woman told you what she knew of me. You connected me with a counterintelligence report, and you decided to play the hero, as is your wont. Think well in what your heroism has gained you. You will be sent into a future time where you will die. For the only person who can coexist with himself in another time period is me, thanks to yet another property of mine unique armor.
Ah, so he's wearing armour. Phew. For some reason I feel reassured. I felt a bit sorry for the poor lad if he was, as you said in the cover, if he was actually in the sort of Robot Man situation. Anyway, this is quite a good one this week, so I'm not having to do all the talking. It's quite a lot more of a balance. This is good. Guess what? Panzer keeps yapping.
I will then set mine grapple beam to retrieve mine ship after you are dead, simultaneously detonating the bombs planted at Halsey, and I will be free at last to change the course of future history.
Over the page, a caption quickly reads,
Will you, Panzer?
Because suddenly appearing on the scene is Wonder Woman. Moving at speed, she yells, yeah! Kill! 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 And we see her rushing up, freeing Steve, grabbing Steve from the cockpit of the Panzer jet, dropping down to the ground. Steve has come to his senses and exclaims,
Angel?
As Wonder Woman then rushes towards the Panzer, who is saying,
Mein ship! Mein ship! She's taking off, and the grapple beam has not been set! Nine!
Wonder Woman rushes up to the Panzer. She's still in a fury. She sends him flying with a punch, and he can only yell,
Ah!
Steve gets a very flattering close-up. He looks like Gil Kane drew him in this panel, actually, and he's thinking,
4 against 1. That ought to keep things from getting too out of hand, while I slip away.
what?
Whatever Steve's plan is, he may be wrong about the significance of the odds. The frenzy of rage and increased strength of the Berserk Amazon makes her an unstoppable juggernaut.
Yes, we see a few of the Panzer's goons running towards Wonder Woman, but she's lifted up a huge big piece of equipment and thrown it at them, which strikes them with a brilliant sound effects, and then a caption kicks in.
Suddenly, thankfully,
Yes, we see Wonder Woman's returned to start punching at the Panzer, but Steve has grabbed one of her wrists, and he says,
Stop it, Angel! Stop it! You're killing him!
and he quickly snaps into place one of her bracelets.
no sooner has Steve clamped one of the Amazon's bracelets onto her wrist than she becomes her docile self again.
Yes, Wonder Woman calms down, but then we hear a huge sound effect. Steve looks around and exclaims,
Good Lord! One of the missiles!
yes, and one of the missiles is flying in through the big open window. We see the Panzer getting to his feet as Wonder Woman says, Steve, look! The Panzer's recovered, and he's trying to get away.
Seizing her second bracelet from Steve, Wonder Woman tosses it with unerring aim.
See, the Panzer has lifted up a hatch in the floor to try and make his escape, and Wonder Woman throws the bracelet and it bounces off the hatch, up and over in the direction of the Panzer. The rocket can only follow it, and it collides with the Panzer with a colossal boom. You see the smoke clearing. The hatch has fallen on the Panzer. He's not moving. Steve observes,
You killed him.
Of course not. If my bracelets could withstand the impact of those missiles' warheads, the Panzer's super tough armour can. He's just stunned enough to take to prison. There's a slow dissolve. We're back at the General's office. We can see Diana sat at her desk. Etta Candy is there, as is Steve. The General is reading a copy of the Washington News with the headline, Nazi Spy and Sabotage Ring Broken by Wonder Woman. And he is saying, well, I suppose everything turned out well. Though if I wanted to be a stick in the mud, I could have you up on charges for leaking that intelligence, Etta. And Steve says,
Intelligence? What intelligence? Do you know what he's talking about, girls?
And everyone laughs probably, and we end on a caption that reads,
Next, the claws of the cheetah.
On sale January 27th.
Well, let's go to the cover straight away. She did spend a fair bit of time restrained by chains and stuff, but there wasn't a point when she was chained to a wall and a missile flying towards her.
No, that's very true.
I hurl my copy of Defenders 229, for it might as well be down in disgust.
Yes, that was great fun. It almost seems like a throwback, and it is a throwback, but it also seems very true to the TV show in a way.
Yes. I have to be honest, I didn't enjoy it quite as much as last week.
Uh-huh.
But I would echo your assertion strongly.
Mm-hmm.
It has the pace and the lightness of touch of the TV show, very much so, yes.
I mean, reading the captions, I'm just imagining the captions actually appearing on the TV screen.
Yeah, they often did, actually.
That's what I mean, yeah. Huh?
Especially in the pilot movie, yeah. Yeah.
We have to, of course, address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Given the fact how much Greek mythology is inherent to Wonder Woman.
Uh-huh.
They mix up the character that was actually trapped in the maze.
Yes, well, they don't mix it up, Peter. They get it completely wrong. You're being too generous to them.
I'm being generous, fair enough. So they say, what was it, Perseus?
Yes, they say Perseus, but it wasn't Perseus.
It should have been Theseus in the maze with the Minotaur.
Yes.
Yes, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
6 out of 10 for effort there, Marty Pascoe.
Denny editing this should have picked up. Oh well.
But yes, no, I mean, it was all quite straightforward. There was some interesting stuff with the way we sort of hopped about back and forth. A couple of points it did jar, like when we see Wonder Woman pitching off the plane at a great height.
Yeah. And
then she immediately collides with the canopy. That I could have maybe done with another panel there. I'm being picky, I know, but I'm allowed to be. And also, as I said at the time, the way it quickly just leaps from her talking to Steve to visiting her mum on Paradise Island in 2 panels. That was fascinating. But I liked the whole bit with her mum sort of wiping her memory of the future. That was unexpected.
That's weird, because obviously that's going to wipe out her memory of meeting her counterpart as well.
Yeah.
So that still means that's quite cool, because it does mean that
she doesn't have knowledge of the whole Earth 1, Earth 2 situation.
Yeah. So the Seven Soldiers of Victory is still the first time she thinks that they met each other. So yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah.
It's very interesting to contemplate. The Panzer's an interesting villain. I wonder if he'll be back.
I do like him a lot, and even more so in this story. He reminds me of Doctor Doom so much. Again, as I said last week, he's Doctor Doom meets the Red Skull, and it's terrific. Yeah. With a touch of Iron Dictator from the Challengers of the Unknown story that we did years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good amalgamation, this Nazi super scientist with this armour that enables him to do things. It's kind of cool for a bad guy to be like that. Yeah, it's a very strong bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good creation. There's not really too much else to add. I mean, I liked the little chase through the maze. Could have been expanded a little further. I loved the TV series style transformation.
Yes, she does look like she's spinning round in that panel, definitely.
Yeah, I really don't have too much to add. I mean, it just seamlessly flowed on from last week. So I think it's a good decision, I think, to do these two one after the other. And I think because we're enjoying these, we're just going to do issue 230 next week, I think.
Why not?
I was saying to Gavin, hi Gavin, if you're listening, we're making quite good progress into stuff like Secret Society and Freedom Fighters and All-Star Comics. So let's do another issue of Wonder Woman just so that we've probably got a couple of feet into it.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Getting established on it. And everyone can stand by their beds for issues 231 and 232. I really don't have too much to add to this one. Beyond my mild criticism of the cover, I thought it flowed really well. Interesting that there was no real reference to the Earth 1 Wonder Woman.
Nope, that's all in the past. We're now fully on Earth 2, World War 2, yeah.
The status quo has changed. The setup is in place. And, as we've said already, as we said last week, for the next year and a bit, this is where we are.
Yeah, it is a very straightforward action-adventure story, which is great fun, but also it establishes the new status quo. We've got the new supporting cast bringing in this version of Steve.
Yes.
Bringing back in Etta again, bringing the General in. It's very much that's going to be the setup going forward.
Yeah, it's all very well done. Very economical.
Yeah. And also in a way, when you think about it, this is kind of like almost like a pilot for All-Star Squadron.
Sure.
By having flashback stories.
I know what you're saying.
retroactively fitting it into
Yep.
the Golden Age World War II setting on Earth 2.
That's a good point. So we'll have to keep an eye out for which characters are introduced during these World War II stories and see if any of them do pop up in All-Star Squadron, said David, looking at the camera significantly and heavily.
Interesting. Bearing in mind this is set in 1943, which is after All-Star Squadron stories.
Logopolis. I was about to say the same thing. Yeah. Yes, that is something else we'll have to watch for. Very interesting, actually, because given the few guest stars that are going to turn up in subsequent and imminent issues of Wonder Woman. Yeah, there's a text page in this issue, it's worth pointing out, that has a few details about Lyle Wagner, who plays Steve on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how much other bonus content I've got this week, I might stick this on the socials, this text page, because it's quite interesting. It's a bit more context about what they're doing with the book and the TV show and all that. So actually, I notice I'll quickly read this one paragraph that says, the adventures which will be appearing in the pages of this magazine are the exploits of the Wonder Woman you've probably been watching in the new original Wonder Woman TV miniseries. Right.
Oh, okay.
Open brackets, 11 hours worth of excitement aired in episodes of varying lengths throughout the season on the ABC television network. These are the exploits of the Wonder Woman of Earth 2 in the 1940s. The Wonder Woman last seen in Wonder Woman 227, the Wonder Woman of Earth 1 in 1976, worked for the UN and whose friends include Steve Howard, Morgan Tracy, can still be seen regularly in Justice League and Super Friends. Now, because DC always does things in a big way, you can double your pleasure, double your fun, to borrow another famous advertising slogan, with 2 Wonder Women. And then they also go on to mention, as we have in the past, that Earth 2 Wonder Woman would also be appearing in World's Finest. And then, as I say, they go on to talk about Lyle Wagner. So that's interesting. I think, as I said, the first series of Linda Carter's Wonder Woman was on ABC and then it shifted to CBS the same night as The Incredible Hulk. We'll have to try and find a
TV guide
advert or something about such things that we can put on the socials at some point. Any excuse to get people looking in the direction of Bill Bixby is a good thing, for he was a legend.
Indeed.
So yeah, text page that I'll stick on the socials this week, so I don't have much else. Should we jump to the letters then, Pete?
Let's do so. Let's skip ahead a few issues to Wonder Woman issue 233 and Wonder Words. And the first letter says, Gentlemen, when it was first announced that you were going to start doing Wonder Woman's adventures back in World War II, the Earth 1, Earth 2 explanation is just a technicality for convenience in translation, I was about ready to cancel my subscription and never speak to you again.
Gosh.
But, lo and behold, issues 228 and 229 were fantastic. I found them much better than the Earth 1 or present-day adventures, and I don't like the TV series. Let's hear it for the return of Etta Candy. Having her as one of General Blankenship's secretaries rather than a college student is much more believable, and was one of the things that always bugged me about the original stories. After all, she never did seem to go to classes or have term papers to write. And that brings me to the one important mistake that was made in issue 229. I just finished a term paper for my mythology class, here we go, and that goes into explicit detail about how Theseus defeated the Minotaur. You have the Red Panzer saying in page 13 that Diana must escape the missile as Perseus escaped the Minotaur. You may have just cost me my grade, so says Jan Harper from Bloomington, Indiana.
Editorial response reads, replies at red-faced Marty Pascoe, obviously I should have spent a minute or two, very good, doing some research rather than relying on my faulty memory. But you have to admit it was an understandable myth-take. Very good. As for our other mistakes, we refer you to our reply to the following letter. Now, this is very interesting. This is, again, where it really benefits to look at the contemporary correspondence. And because I remember when we did a stretch of Wonder Woman stuff before, the discussions and letter columns were very heated.
Yeah.
So what we have here, Dear Editor, I'm sure you'll receive a number of letters commenting on this. Well, here's one more. It's one thing to change Wonder Woman and locales. Although I don't go for it, I realise there is nothing that can be done about it. But it's another thing to deliberately ignore established facts relating to the strip, merely to conform to the TV show. Now, I've never been a big fan of Steve Trevor. I was glad to see him killed off a number of years back, and was equally sorry to see him resurrected not long ago. Of course, the Steve Trevor that is appearing in Wonder Woman is a resident of Earth 2, but he's supposed to have blonde hair, just like the Steve of Earth 1 used to. Lyle Wagner doesn't have blonde hair, but Steve must. That's how it's got to be if this series is going to fit into the established past. And while I'm at it, who's this Etta Candy character? Sure isn't the Etta H.G. Peter used to depict, stuffing yourself back in the days of the big bands? There is only one inescapable conclusion that we must draw from all this. we are not reading about the Wonder Woman of Earth 2 at all. What we actually have here is another DC TV comic, like Welcome Back Kotter. Welcome Back Kotter, Clarkson. And it should say so on the cover. Really, guys, I do feel kind of silly harping on what may be considered a minor point. I don't think I've ever written a letter concerning a comic strip character's hair before. But let's keep things in order, okay? And that's from Joe Rusnak, Monteville, New Jersey!
Editorial response says, if you feel silly writing a letter about a character's hair colour, Joe, think how we must feel answering it. But since we could wallpaper the inside of the Sistine Chapel with all the letters we've received on this subject, answer it we will. Now read carefully, because they're only going to go through this once. At the moment, DC does not publish any reprint material, and has not for quite some time. We must assume that the vast majority of our audience consists of comic book readers, not collectors or long-time fans. It is entirely plausible to assume, if they've been reading Wonder Woman a relatively short while, that these readers have never been exposed to the wartime Wonder Woman, either in the form of old issues or reprints. Had we been slavishly faithful to the Charles Moulton version of the Amazon, we probably would have gotten just as many letters from readers asking why Steve Trevor's hair isn't brown, like the one in TVs, as we've gotten asking why it is. The same goes for General Blankenship, as opposed to General Darnell. The colour of Queen Hippolyta's hair, Yeoman Prince instead of Lieutenant Prince, and all the other discrepancies some of you have pointed out in your letters. We're faced with an either way we lose proposition, at least as far as a small percentage of our readers is concerned. But since we'd rather bring you Wonder Woman 12 times a year than 6, we decided to opt for the more potentially commercial approach, which is to present Wonder Woman and her universe in a manner compatible to the television incarnation. In terms of the big picture, the continuity problems this creates are minimal, since the rest of DC superhero stories are set in the present and Wonder Woman will not be appearing in All-Star in the foreseeable future. Interesting.
Very interesting. What do we think about this?
I can absolutely understand where they're coming from, but being the pedants that we are, it is a bit annoying, but hey, let's just go with it. I like the idea of it being set on Earth TV.
Yeah, that's interesting. The thing actually, and this thought has literally just occurred to me. You know, we made reference there how when it, for the second and third series of the Linda Carter TV show, it went out on CBS the same night as Incredible Hulk. You didn't see the Incredible Hulk comic in the 1970s shifting to echo the TV series, did you?
No, not the main comic, but in the magazine, he was a bit more kind of driftery. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is they didn't alter
the continuity as such.
Yeah. They didn't get rid of the gamma bomb and make him a research scientist investigating the limits of human strength.
Yeah.
Jim was still there, Rick was still getting mentioned. It was still absolutely seeded in the comic book continuity.
Yeah.
He was still turning up in the Defenders. There's another Defenders mention. I know that stories were published by Marvel UK that were more rooted in the TV series continuity and annuals and stuff and some of the British Hulk TV comics. And I know that all the comics had Marvel's TV sensation all over them, but it's really interesting to make that comparison and think that not only with Shazam, but Wonder Woman, DC decided to shift it to make it sort of new reader friendly. It would have been fascinating to think if the Hulk comic had done something similar.
Yeah.
Even just getting rid of stuff like Doc Samson and supervillains and making it really down to earth and no real super heroic elements for a while.
And have a reporter chase him as well.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been really interesting if, there have been, obviously, Batman 66 and Wonder Woman 77 and Superman 78 comic books published by DC. It's been my wish for years that Marvel would do an Incredible Hulk 78 comic set in the TV series continuity with, characters looking like Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby and Jack Colvin. If anyone at Marvel is listening who can make this happen, I'll be grateful forever.
That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's interesting to make the comparison, especially as the TV shows ultimately ended up going out back to back. There is one more letter. It goes like this.
Dear editors, Tomorrow Belongs to Me was great. I liked the fact that Diana had not really been knocked out by the time ship, but only dazed. I have to assume that the condition lasted until after she'd been tied up, however. She'd never have allowed it to happen otherwise. It was nice having Wonder Woman pursue the Panzer in his own plane, rather than fly after him. The TV version apparently lacks the ability to float on air currents, so I'm glad you're steering away from it as well. I really enjoyed seeing Steve help Wonder Woman for a change. I think that the World War II setting will help out his characterisation immensely. Etta and General Blankenship were a nice little extra too. The recapture and consequent death trap sequence was superb. It featured everything from Amazon lore to a brilliant show of Wonder Woman's strength and cunning, so says Scott R. Taylor from Portland, Texas.
Editorial response to that one reads, Scott, you're a reader after our own hearts, and not just because you liked issue 229, but because you accept the idea that we're following the TV show without disputing it. Would that there were more letter-writing readers like you. But such disagreement is the stuff of which these letter columns are made, and we'd rather be stuck with nothing but rancour and bile than nothing to print on this page. And so, good, bad, or indifferent, we'll see you next month. And there we have it.
Yes, and we'll see you next week.
We will.
But before then, that was the letters from the time, but why don't you write us a letter now? Electronically via email, and send it to the earth2podcast@gmail.com to tell us what you think about this change of direction for our amazing Amazon.
Absolutely.
Also, make sure you follow us on social media because we're putting up some lovely bonus material for this and, of course, every episode. On Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky, we're at the Earth2 Podcast, and on Twitter, we're at podcast_Earth2. And as ever, it's the number 2 for all of our socials.
It certainly is the number 2, as in Earth 2, Wonder Woman, World War 2, Wonder Woman, etc. If you're feeling generous, listeners, if you're enjoying what we're doing, please consider going to wherever it is you receive your podcast and leaving us a positive review. That would be lovely. Or make your way to our coffee page and buy Peter the Price for a beverage. And everything. So yes, do check out the socials. A few bits and bobs to share this week. And as I say, we'll put that text page up. I think I've got one foreign reprint of this cover. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. But yes, we're going to jump back into Wonder Woman again next week. The Cheetah. I think this will be the first time properly the Cheetah has appeared on the show.
It's exciting. Very exciting, yes.
Yeah, and I've had 10 Cheetah covers to post on the socials prepared for about 3 years now, so that's good. Look forward to seeing them. But yes, that'll be in a week or so's time. Isn't that right, Peter?
Yeah, it most certainly is. And on that bombshell, I've been Peter.
He has been Peter. I've been David. Take care, folks. We'll see you in 7 days for some more Wonder Woman action on
the Earth2 Podcast.
Transmatter cube activated. Return coordinates set for Earth Prime. The time is 1943. That's like 7:45. Sorry.
Half an hour ago, as we record.
Instinctively, Princess Diana knows. What's that about? Instinctively, Princess Diana knows her mother's plan and... No, I'm doing the wrong emphasis.
don't know whose voice that is, mate. Suddenly, the captions are read by someone else for the first time. There's a piece of glass. Some people might call it a window. I will when I retry that.